Hello everyone. Today we're going to focus on listening. The sub-skill that we're going to focus today is listen for main ideas and supporting details in familiar and unfamiliar contexts and linguistically complex speech. Well, what is familiar topic? Do you all know what is familiar topic? Yes, a familiar topic for a student will revolve around a student's personal and study life and involves the topic below, such as here, friendship, hobbies, family, projects, studies, and pets. Okay, just now we were looking at familiar topic. Now let's look at what is unfamiliar topic. Unfamiliar topic for students will usually refer to topics that are outside of student life, like work, financial investment, or matters outside the field of study, such as the topics below. They are work, adult learning courses, raising children, training programs, advice from an expert, and also extreme sport. Well, here I would like to share some effective strategies to tackle unfamiliar listening topics. First, read the rubric. Why do you need to read the rubric? It provides information on the setting and context. Second, you need to read the questions because in the question they provide you with contextual information about the topic. The question also shows you what you need to look out for in order to answer them. Remember, focus on what the speakers are saying and how they say it while listening to the text. Why is it so? Yes, because the speakers will drop clues or outline what they will talk about beforehand. Knowing linking words will help a listener to anticipate what will be said next. And finally, note the order of the content. Questions are normally arranged following the order of the content. This means that the answer for the first question likely to be found at the beginning of the dialogue or monologue and not at the end. Okay, now let's try the listening practice given here.
This recording is from the British Council.
Hi, my name's Peter. What's your name?
Hi, Peter. I'm Carla. I'm new here.
Welcome to the company, Carla.
Thanks, Peter. I'm happy to be here and it's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Where do you work?
I work in the design team. We sit over there.
I'm in the marketing team. I started last week.
You work in marketing? That's very interesting.
Yes, it is. I'm enjoying it. But there are a lot of new things to learn.
I'm sure there are. I'm happy to help you if I can.
Thank you, Peter. What do you do in the design department?
I design new products.
That sounds interesting. I plan marketing events for new products. So I think we'll work together sometimes.
That would be great. So, where are you from, Carla?
Brazil. And you?
I'm from the UK.
How long have you been here?
I've worked here for 3 years, but I actually moved here from the UK 5 years ago to...
This recording is from the British Council.
Hey you guys, I've been looking for you. I've got an idea. A study group. What do you think? Are you interested?
Yes, I need a study group in a big way. Me too.
Do you think we have enough people here for a study group? I mean, there are only 4 of us.
Sorry, 3 of us. Chris can do study group. Right, Chris?
Yeah, there's no way I can do a study group. I have an assignment and then I'm too busy, but I'll stay for this first meeting.
Should we try and get another group together with us for this?
No, I don't think so. I think 3 is fine. Ideal size. Really.
Me too.
Okay, 3 people then. 4 people for the first meeting. What next?
What about a meeting place? We can't meet here in the library.
It's not too bad, especially if those other people would go away.
But we can't exactly ask them to leave and people might get annoyed with us talking.
Can I say something here?
Sure, go ahead.
There's a study hall next to the cafeteria. It's almost always empty. Could we meet there?
A study hall? Who knew? Well, sounds good to me.
Yeah, I've never been there, but...
So we ought to decide how long for and how often.
I read somewhere that you should make the meeting at the same time each week, like a seminar. That way we'd take it more seriously.
We may as well make it for this time since we're all here. Is this time okay?
Works for me.
Me too.
Hang on just a minute. I know I'm not going to be in this group, but aren't we supposed to have a seminar at this time every other week?
No, Thursday, no?
No, that's on Thursday.
Sorry, forget I said anything.
Don't worry about it.
So everyone agrees that this time is fine. Every week?
Yeah.
Yes. How long should we make it?
An hour?
Could we find a way of making it 2 hours?
2 hours seems a bit like too much. To start with then,
90 minutes? Compromise?
is that okay with you, Dina?
Fine by me.
Okay, so I guess all we have left to decide is exactly what we'll do when we meet. The final exam is a way off. I guess we could review our notes or practice learning things by heart.
I have a list of do's and don'ts, actually, that I got online. I could be a moderator, and we could use the ideas as a start.
This recording is from the British Council.
A.
I'll never forget the first time I met our new contact from Retrolink, one of our top 5 customers. I had travelled to their office to meet him in person, talk about the history of our companies together, and define a shared vision for future cooperation. I wanted to focus on building a good relationship with him, which would be a good foundation for working together. So, when we met, I wanted to make a good impression and also show him respect. I greeted him with a handshake and addressed him by his surname. When I put my hand out, I realized he had been moving in to give me a hug, so we did an awkward mixture of the two. Also, when I greeted him by his surname, he responded politely, though he used my first name. It was all a little uncomfortable. In this situation, I guess I made assumptions about the level of formality he expected. Even though he had never met me before, he knew our 2 companies had been doing business with each other for years, and he wanted to build on that history by being less formal with me from the beginning. The real learning here for me was that I shouldn't assume we all have the same ideas about meeting people for the first time.
B.
I'd never worked with a virtual team on an international project before. It was quite exciting, though also challenging to work with people from different countries, many of whom I would never actually get to meet in person. There were a lot of things that were different about working in the same office, and it was quite challenging at the beginning. For example, there were different time zones, different IT systems, and even different local regulations which impacted on what each person was allowed to or able to do for the project. There were also interpersonal differences, such as different ways of working, approaches to deadlines, and when to reply to emails. And we shouldn't forget the fact that English was the project language, and that most people on the team had to work in a language which wasn't their first. A positive of this was that it meant that everyone, including the native English speakers, had to make the effort to communicate clearly and clarify their own and everyone else's understanding. To help us all get on the same page, we defined the communication norms and the rules the team would follow, as well as the meeting dates and deadlines. We lay this all out in a document called a team or project charter. This was really useful, and in the end, the project was a great success. I'm looking forward to working on my next international project.
C. I went through a bit of a rough patch last year at work. I was already committed to too much, and then we lost a team member through restructuring, and I quickly became overloaded. This led to me doing too much overtime and feeling very stressed. My boss was really helpful, and she pushed back against the unrealistic targets that had been set for our department. She also introduced me to the SMART approach to goal setting. It's an acronym, SMART. You use it to create goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. I used this approach to deal with all of the things that were overloading me. It helped me to prioritize some tasks, to do some later, and to drop some completely. I often use this approach now, and feel much more in control of my time and workload.
D.
Have you ever missed a flight or had one cancelled? I did. It happened to me last week. My flight home from a business trip was the last one of the day and we were told it was going to be delayed. That's always a risk at the end of each day. The ground crew kept extending the delay until eventually they cancelled the flight completely. They then told us to go back through the airport to the departures area to talk to their agent who would organise hotels for everyone and rebook us on the following day's flight. As soon as they made the announcement about the cancellation, I knew I had to think quickly, as it would not be likely that the flight would have capacity to take everyone from my cancelled flight. I hurried back through the airport and was one of the first to make it to the desk. That turned out to be a good idea, as there were only 9 seats available on the flight the next morning. Everyone else had to fly to a different airport and then continue back to our destination airport in coaches.
Okay, this is the end of our lesson for today. Thank you for your attention. So see you all next time.